to make Bai Yueyuing, who is taking the second exam, happy. I pulled the top student, Zio Hua, into the alley. Not only did they burn her backpack, but they also wouldn't let her go home. The girl's mother had an accident on her way to find her. Zio Hua was thus devastated and ultimately took her own life. And I was also at the wedding of Bai Yueyuang, and another man died on the spot from alcohol poisoning after drinking too much. At this moment, memories surged like a tide. I rubbed my aching temples. It seems like I've time traveled, and in a particularly ridiculous way. I unexpectedly found myself in the body of a reincarnator, although our names are the same. The part that makes me feel really frustrated is I am a seasoned simp in my original form, licking a girl named Guzooting to the point of being unable to extricate oneself. Right now, it's because of this girl named Wen Nguyen in front of me. In the monthly exam, I scored higher than Guzoo Ting and got a low score. That green tea girl couldn't hold it in and started crying. Upon hearing this, my former self, the desperate sycophant, I must stand up for my goddess. This is how the girl was brought here. Yet the girl in front of me is so close. Beneath the disheveled long hair lies a pure white bud, with a bit of dust on the face. It cannot hide her fair skin and stunning beauty. Looking down, the slightly swollen school uniform could even cover the feet. I want to create a bit of distance. Only then can you see her torn pants. This heartbreaking sense of fragility made my heart skip a beat. This Monsoon is truly a beast. Her warm brows twitched at my words. A hint of confusion appeared in her eyes. Then came the endless indifference. But those slightly trembling fingers, yet she betrayed her feelings at this moment. Brought to this deserted construction site by this group of people, she has already made the worst possible plan. Bullying a girl, it's really not interesting at all. Forget it. You should go. I remember the tone of that playful temper, but the voice carried a hint of urgency. If this young girl goes back a little more, her mother is going to have a car accident. I heard that I should just do it. A immediately spoke up, fearing chaos behind him. Ah, Fengji, just let her go like that. The person speaking is Liu Wai. In fact, the gardener does many things. It's not that bad, really. Unfortunately, the garden owner isn't very bright, always being pushed hard by this guy. Ultimately, it led to an irreversible ending, this time taking away the warmth. It was actually instigated by Liu Wai. I gave him a death glare. Do you have any objections? I continued speaking with an indifferent expression. A group of big men bullies a woman. I won't do something so disgraceful. It's over, it's over. Everyone goes home to find their own mother. Watching several younger brothers disperse. I see it's still subtly showing its warmth. What are you still looking at? Let's go. He was somewhat confused. Why did I suddenly stop my wrongdoings? But it's good not to be bullied anymore. I took my phone out of my pocket and glanced at it. It's already past 10 o'clock. This is a warm home in the suburbs, just in the opposite direction. If he walks back like this, it will probably take 2 hours. There definitely won't be enough time. I stared at my motorcycle parked beside the construction site, thinking about what reason to come up with. He's only willing to get in my car now. The warm footsteps are quick. He had neither a watch nor a phone. We can only make up for the time lost before. Estimate what time it is now. He slightly furrowed his brow. It must be quite late now. Mom will definitely worry about him. Mom's health isn't good. He is afraid that if he goes back late, Mom will run out to find him. Getting on the bus. I will accompany you for a while. I slammed on the brakes and positioned the scooter in front of Wenwen, but he had no intention of getting in the car. How? Unwilling. I won't get in your car. If it's too much, I'll just walk back. Before he could finish his harsh words, I interrupted him. Stop talking nonsense. It's so late. What time will it be when you walk back like this? You wouldn't want your mom to worry too much, would you? He was slightly taken aback. I do think my words have some merit. During his struggle, my voice comes through once again. What are you still standing there for? The earlier we get on the bus, the sooner we can go home. You're not the only one in this world with a mom. I have it too. I am still waiting to go home. It's my mom's stir-fried pork with belt noodles. Warmth and gentle words no longer entangle. She directly swung her legs into the car. To his surprise, I actually ride my bike very steadily. The two of them remained silent all the way until a dump truck ran a red light. I hurriedly slammed on the brakes. The warmth of unresponsiveness. It hit me directly on the back. This bouncy collision. I was completely stunned. How should I describe the world beneath the school uniform? Indescribable when riding to the warm home in the urban village. It is already 11 p.m. at night. Is Mother Wang Yakin standing at the alley's entrance, looking left and right, to dispel his mother's suspicions. I can only lie and say it's because the college entrance exam is approaching. Wen Nguyen is helping me with my studies. So I got home a bit later today. Staring at me, Ed said that. Then let's schedule any extra classes for the weekends. She nodded slightly at my words. All right, it's too late today. Aunt won't invite you inside. I'll treat you again the next time you come to see Aunt Zionowin. Hee, Auntie, you are too polite. You all should hurry back. It's so late already. I need to hurry back too. I'm afraid my mom will arrive if I wait any longer. Listen to my joking tone. Wang Yakin also smiled. All right. Child, you should head back now. Pay attention to safety on the road. Goodbye, dear aunt. Wang Yakin looked at Wen Nguyen beside her and asked, Hey Zionowin, why didn't you say goodbye to your classmates? At this moment, Wen Nguyen gazes at my silhouette. The indifferent face had taken on some oddities. Weekend remedial classes. He can't really be coming, right? The next day I woke up very early. While washing up in the bathroom, I looked at my somewhat frail body now. I have to say, I was truly young in my youth. The only drawback is that they are too young. I pinched my arm. I still feel like I should exercise a bit. At the very least, you need some self-defense skills. After going downstairs, I found a bun shop. Bought 10 buns. Then I rode my motorcycle, arriving at school in a flurry. As soon as I sat down, Wen Nguyen walked in through the door. He is still the same. His entire body is covered in living reflections. After eating 2 buns, I stood up. As I passed by the warm desk, he discovered the steamed buns and pickled vegetables on the table. He seems to have always had breakfast like this. Ah, I have buns and egg soup here. I pointed to my desk. Then he deliberately looked away. I haven't said sorry to you about what happened yesterday. I bought too much for breakfast today. You should try something different. Anyway, it's a waste even if I lose it. Eat freely without needing your money. He still had a cold demeanor. Still ignoring me. Just a hand reaching for the cold steamed bun. Turned to the Beazi halfway. Then she began to eat it little by little. I nodded with satisfaction. Returned to your seat. Began studying by flipping through the textbook. I have high standards for myself, not to mention the top universities. 2 lives as a human. At the very least, you should aim for a top-tier university. Unfortunately, I haven't awakened a system like a genius scholar. But now there is a clear goal. I still gritted my teeth and studied for the whole morning. By noon, I haven't studied this intensively in a long time. I already feel a bit dizzy. Rubbing the sun's snow, I stumbled into the cafeteria in a daze. Just find a place to sit down. A sudden plate of chicken leg rice appeared before me. I raised my head in confusion. Warmth. What are you doing? I'll return your bun from this morning. Warm and cold. I looked down at the chicken leg on my plate. He looked again at the plate of plain white rice in his hand. After a brief pause, the tone suddenly changed. A gentleman does not rely on the timely arrival of things. What identity do I have? I still need you to please. Don't bother me. Take this chicken leg back. The warm voice is still very cold. You can throw it away if you don't want to eat it. But I don't eat his head at all. Throw it away. Who knows the toil behind every grain of rice on the plate? Elementary school students all know what you don't. Is this how you read the book? I directly pulled the plate of white rice from Worm's hands towards myself, then pushed the chicken leg rice in front of him. I'm telling you, don't bother me. He just glanced at the plate in front of me before lowering his head again. The expression seemed to carry a hint of shyness. That white rice is what he has eaten the next few days. I am still immersed in my studies. Aside from encountering the warmth of familiar morning joggers every day during my morning run, I hardly talk to any of my classmates. Of course, the warmth of the morning run doesn't speak to me either. During this time, Bu Ting also contacted me several times. I simply had no intention of acknowledging her. Seeing me like this, Gu Ting was a bit angry, swore they would never pay attention to me again, because I have really been studying hard. I only feel like I'm using my brain. My hair has grown so long that it's almost gone. Subjects like Chinese and English that rely purely on memorization are not bad. With hard work, you can catch up. But mathematics is different. Too many lessons have been missed ahead. Now, math problems look as incomprehensible to me as ancient texts. I had no choice but to turn my head and look at the seats several rows away. Under the astonished gaze of many classmates, I got up and walked in front of the warmth, pull over a chair and sit down. She glanced up at me, silently stuffed the cold steamed bun into the desk. Her movements are actually very subtle, but these little actions completely escape my notice. But I didn't say anything. Just took out my math book and some paper. Can you tell me about the topic? The warmth paused for a few seconds. The gaze directed at me was somewhat puzzled. It seemed like she was checking if I was joking with her. I can't. I don't understand any of these questions. There's really no way. But she let out a grunt and said nothing more. Let's get straight to the point and start explaining seriously. While she was presenting the topic, an aura completely different from usual radiated from him. It is confidence. Absolute confidence. I once saw this kind of confidence in Gu Ting, because Gu Ting is good at studying and has a beautiful appearance. The family background is also good, but warmth is different. She mostly feels like an outsider. Her personality is too cold, and her family situation is not good. A girl with strong pride and self-esteem. Difficult family conditions can really make them lose that air of confidence. The basic solution to this problem is like this. Did you understand? May didn't understand. I feel a bit embarrassed. I just saw her so engrossed in watching. I kept zoning out. When Nguyen tilted her head. No problem, let's do it again. I can't believe I'm discussing studying with Wen Nguyen. This is a classmate from my previous class. It can only be taken as a joke. But the truth is right in front of us. Many people only dare to be abstract. Has Gu Zhuting been ignoring these recent letters? She must not have switched targets right. Lick the warmth. Is this reliable? I can treat my classmates' gossip as flatulence. It's warm, but still somewhat lacking. After excessive idle chatter, she paused after finishing a question, before she could even speak. Gu Zhuting angrily walked up to me. What are you doing, Monsoon? Have I been ignoring you lately? You did this on purpose to annoy me. I glanced back at her with a complicated expression. Whose surname Manchu below? Turning back, I spoke to myself. I don't know if I can take studying seriously for a bit. Touched the nerves of many people. They felt like stepping in dog poop, puncturing a tire, and hopping on one foot. The vast classroom does not belong to me. Only jealousy remains on these people's faces. That's enough. Staying here will only lead to being pointed at by these people. Let's change the location. Wen Nguyen glanced up at me. She glanced at Gu Zhuting beside her. Actually, she is still savoring what I just said. How should I put this feeling into words? It sounds like there is some literary background. Yet it perfectly blended in some profanity. It's a rather strange way of speaking. By the time she realized what was happening, I have pulled her to the classroom door. I didn't say where to go, and she didn't ask. So you followed me all the way to the cafeteria. Eat first. Otherwise, I won't be able to study any more. Warmth let go of my hand. Then I will go back. Oh, Grandpa, you'll have to explain the questions to me later. What are you going back to do at this time? When Nguyen turned to look out the window. Thinking about my meals still moving for you. I'd also want to go back and eat. I remember the cold steamed buns she secretly stuffed into my desk. For a moment, I didn't know what to say. Now she really has to go. I quickly stepped forward to stop her. He changed to a fierce expression. Do you know that I'm looking for a tutor? How much is a class? One class costs 1,100 yuan. You give me extra lessons, and I can't even repay you with this meal. Hurry up and sit down. She didn't sit down at the only available spot. You don't even come to see me. It seems there's no intention to leave. What do you want to eat? Whatever. I didn't continue to ask. It's really hard to get anything out of a girl's mouth, no matter what it is. So I went alone to the cafeteria and specifically chose the expensive dishes. This, and this. Bring 2 servings. Still casual. Xiao Yan, I miss you. Let's see if you dare to gamble recklessly in the future. But when I brought the plate over, Wen Nguyen surprisingly didn't say anything like too much to eat. I just took a look at the food on the plate, whispered a thank you. Then they started eating directly. The more I eat this meal, the worse I feel. I started to hiccup halfway through eating. The warmth from across the way shows no signs of stopping. Until she finished all her food. I finished eating. Finish eating and leave. What are you staring at? Don't you still have to explain the questions to me? My attitude is still that way. When Nguyen walked out of the cafeteria with me, the expression remains indifferent. But the gaze has already shifted elsewhere. She turned her head not just to avoid my gaze, because I just ate too much. She quietly let out a hiccup. The next day, everyone gradually accepted me and Wen Nguyen. This strange study combination of the bottom student and the top student. No need to say what's true or false. The serious and dedicated attitude towards our studies still infected some people. For example, the class leader Lai Long. She took the initiative to invite Gu Zhuting. Zhuting, let's study together. Gu Zhuting didn't even glance at her. She walked quietly in front of me and Wen Nguyen. Let me explain the monsoon topic to you. I can do it too. I glanced at Gu Zhu Ting. I looked again at the squad leader, Lai Long, who was nearby, suddenly raised both hands and waved them in front of his chest a few times. Fighting and praying with island guns. No need. Gu classmate. Just let my classmate Wenwen teach me. She's amazing. Gu Zhu Ting is the main character, although I have rejected her many times these days. But she still can't accept my current attitude. Why? Why has our relationship come to this? Is she really that amazing, or am I just lacking? Please, she got first in her grade and you only got third. The difference is clear, all right. Class leader Lai Long saw me reject Gu Zhu Ting. Quickly walked over to join the conversation. Zhu Ting, look. The warmth and the monsoon have developed a certain tacit understanding. At this time, outsiders joining will only disturb each other. It's better if the two of us support each other. Gu Zhu Ting was already in a bad mood. Hearing her say that, he immediately got furious. Which of your eyes saw that she lacked rapport? Is that broken eye of yours just for breathing? After saying that, he turned and walked out of the classroom. Lai Long was slapped in the face by Gu Zhu Ting twice. Her face fluctuated between pale and red. She looked at me with some apprehension. Her status as class monitor poses no threat to me. How to grasp it? She doesn't have the guts for that. But what if it's warmth? Lai Long's gaze began to flicker. Today is Saturday, the last day of the week for classes. During the day, everyone continued to study as usual. Until evening. I came back from the restroom. Prepare to call Wen Nguyen and go to the cafeteria for a meal. The seat by the window is empty. At first, I didn't take it to heart. Just sit down and wait for a while. Just sat down for a little while. Whispers filled the air round me. Wen Nguyen was called away by Lao Huang. I heard it has to do with the monsoon. Yan love. Yeah, I guess they will have to call the parents. I don't know what Wen Nguyen is thinking. Spending all day with her. I suddenly got up. The group that was gossiping just a moment ago immediately fell silent. I walked up to one of them, smilingly asked, "Who passed this on?" But it's the squad leader. Lai Long. I'm not asking anything, just silently walking out of the classroom. Then I wandered around the door of the teacher's office. After a few days of contact, I find that the girl Wen Nguyen is quite withdrawn, besides being somewhat confident when discussing the topic. To be honest, Wen Nguyen's personality isn't that great, even though I study hard, but there is always a sense of negativity about her. Monsoon. How are you here? Seeing the person approaching from the opposite side, I squinted slightly. I couldn't find warmth, but I met the class monitor, Lai Long. Where is the warmth? I don't know. Maybe it's because I felt down after being criticized by Teacher Huang. After all, my parents were called in next Monday. Just now she was crying. I guess I feel quite regretful at this moment. Mentioning regret, Lai Long glanced at me with a hint of pride. But my thoughts are all on warmth now. I heard she was crying just now. I suddenly had a bad feeling in my heart. A warm personality can actually be quite naive, reclusive and out of place. She has never been the kind of delicate flower that grows strong through struggles and setbacks. On the contrary, her personality is very fragile. So I usually ask her to eat and study together. They all look very carefree. It's just to take care of her feelings. I took a deep breath at Lai Long's provocation, pointing a finger at her nose. You should pray for warmth and hope everything is fine. Otherwise, you must have something going on. Spouting an unkind remark, I left the classroom building directly. I searched all around the cafeteria and playground. I'd even asked someone about a few women's restrooms, but gained nothing at all. I just want to stand on the playground. Suddenly felt a chill from the night breeze. Unconsciously, I looked up at the sky. Facing the moonlight, I seemed to be by the edge of the rooftop of the teaching building. I caught a glimpse of a shadow. No, I won't go. I couldn't help but curse. Hastily returned to the teaching building and headed straight for the rooftop. The moonlight shone brightly, casting a silver glow across the sky. It felt as if the entire space was enveloped in a dreamy atmosphere. The beautiful girl in a school uniform is sitting next to the blue railing on the rooftop, silently gazing at the sky. What should I do? What's the use of persuading? If she can't think straight, she might dance again next time. I changed from my usual fiery presence, silently walked over and sat down beside the warmth, said nothing at all. You see, I'm here. On the contrary, usually. The usually quiet when Nguyen was the first to speak. The road of life is too long. Philosophy books say that life is a journey. Along the way, there will be hardships and storms. Can walk or walk. You must learn to walk before you can run. We need to build a road first. You need to wear clothes, shoes, and socks. Sometimes you have to face the wind and brave the rain. She still has symptoms of depression. You want to die. When you indirectly admitted it. I didn't ask why. After all, she really died in her past life. So hearing this answer, I was silent for just a few seconds before speaking. Sensitive people can truly see everything in the world. Unfortunately, you were the only one who didn't see. Precious self. Precious, are you talking about me? She really wants to know the difference between me now and the former delinquent. Is it really the same person or not? So you're advising me? Yes, a person whose heart is truly dead will no longer care about what people say. A person who keeps talking about death. From my experience, it's not really about wanting to die, but rather, what is it? But is still longing for love. This moment, in the warm gaze, there seems to be a little more light, although it was quickly extinguished again. She lowered her head. The voice returned to its usual indifference. I haven't offended anyone. I stood up with a smile. Once she returns to that cold state, that means she is better now. All right, I won't think about dying any more. But when Nguyen didn't quite understand what I was laughing about, I suddenly grinned, revealing 2 rows of pearly white teeth. You don't know how warm it is. Some people in this world are just born adorable. They feel restless if they don't stir things up for a day. They are more than just humans. What I do and say is basically the same as being adorable. They only see your weakness. I just think you're easy to bully. Thank you, I feel much better. She suddenly felt that this was the real me speaking in this tone. The dissolution of feelings doesn't happen in just a day or two. You can do more of what you love. Getting closer to people you like will make things better. Jian Wen Nguyen seems to be deep in thought. I recalled the rumors between her and the Yan Hong ship from a past life. Everyone said she liked the scarlet smoke. I'm not surprised that Warmth would like the other person. He studies well, is handsome, and comes from a very wealthy family. But in the end, Yan Honghao chose Gu Zhuting. I really think this girl has it too hard. You should encourage her a bit. If you like the smoke red number, just bravely pursue it. Do not be afraid of anyone or anything. After a bit of consolation, she still felt soft and tender. Can you hear me mention the Yan Honghao? She suddenly stood up. And the way you look at me seems a bit. I'm hungry. She left a warm sentence and walked away directly. Only I remain in the chaos of the wind. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? I spoke incorrectly. It's good that she has recovered. She didn't go with me to the cafeteria for dinner. I could only go buy 2 servings of fried noodles to take away. I have no choice if I don't bring my own lunch. She will most likely gnaw on a cold steamed bun. Back in the classroom, Wenwen was already seated. I placed the fried noodles on her desk. Take it away, I won't eat. What's going on? Still angry, huh? What is she angry about? Forget it, a woman's thoughts are hard to guess. First, let's get down to business. I walked steadily towards the class leader, Lai Long. The atmosphere in the classroom suddenly felt a bit off. Kikaifind. The classmates around me opened their mouths in surprise. I witnessed the scene where I kicked the class leader in the face. "You little cutie, how dare you provoke me? Aren't you afraid of dying?" Thinking of her little report that came out of nowhere. Adding slander almost caused Wen Nguyen to leave. I can't hold back my anger. Then I kicked again. After that, a scream echoed as they fell to the ground. Starts crying and moaning. Don't mess with her, remember that. Seeing Lai Long nod, I didn't say anything more. Got up and returned to the seat. A moment later, the classroom was filled with a heavy silence, interrupted by a sudden sound of footsteps. Class teacher Lao Huang suddenly appeared at the classroom door. At this moment, Lao Huang felt very strange. The classroom at this point in time. Shouldn't it be very noisy? Why is no one speaking? He scanned the surroundings with gunfire. When I saw Lai Long, Lao Huang immediately sensed something was wrong. Lai Long, what happened to your face? Teacher Huang accidentally fell just now. Huang Jai also walked over and took a look at him. The pun on my face has turned red now. Lao Huang felt something was off and looked at the others. Who can tell how Lai Long ended up with that look on his face? No one responded to Lao Huang's question. There's nothing we can do. Everyone is rushing for the college entrance exam. The closer it gets to this time, any student with a brain, the less likely they are to offend someone like me. So no one is saying anything, right? Okay. Then let's wait until someone speaks. I have plenty of time. I just don't believe it. How can such a tumor be tolerated in a unified nation? Lao Huang's words have already come to a halt. I sighed. Admit your mistakes and stand at attention when being punished. At this time, I definitely can't. When the timid turtle made the whole class take the blame. Just as I was about to stand up and confess, suddenly stood up, quietly watching my warmth. Teacher Huang, Lai Long fell by himself. What I saw with my own eyes. What are you talking about, Warm? Under the astonished gaze of Huang Jai Hai, when Nguyen Lang Lang spoke up. Teacher Huang won't pity me nor believe me, right? So Warm, you are wonderful. After all, the speaker is Warm. That is the top of the entire school. Huang Jai Hai returned to the office, feeling indignant. He felt Warmth would be like this. It is entirely because of the entanglement of the monsoon. No, we have to wait until Monday when his mom comes. We really need to have a good talk. When a person focuses on doing one thing, time always passes quickly. Before I knew it, the weekend has arrived. After getting up, I quickly washed up. I rode the ghost bike down the stairs and sped towards the urban village. We agreed to have extra classes this weekend. I am a person of my word and cannot break a promise. When they arrived at the alley where they last sent Warmth home, I suddenly realized I have no idea where he lives. What a blunder! Just when I thought today's tutoring session would fall through. A warm voice sounded behind me. How did you come here? Good morning. I'm here to make up for the lessons. At this moment, Warmth is carrying many bags in hand, a lot of vegetables and a small amount of meat, Day and Xiao's medicine. There are also some daily necessities. Let me help you carry that." Wen Nguyen glanced at me. Both the expression and voice returned to that cold state they once had. "I can manage without you." I stand awkwardly in place. When the warmth had wandered far away, he suddenly turned back. "Aren't you supposed to be attending extra classes? Why are you still standing there? Oh, here it comes." The room has a scent of traditional Chinese medicine. War Mama is still lying in bed resting. Hearing a sound, she slowly got up and leaned against the bed. "You are the Monsoon classmate from that night, right?" Wang Yakin looked at me with a somewhat surprised expression, but the voice is very gentle. "Yes, Auntie. I came today to have warmth classmate give me a tutoring session. That I knew that night? Mom, it's time for your medication." When Nguyen held a pill and a glass of water in her hand. It also interrupted the conversation between Wang Yakin and me. "Okay, I will take my medicine first." I quietly surveyed the room. It was very small. Besides the warm desk and bed, there isn't even a place to sit. Wang Yakin looked at me apologetically after taking her medicine. "I'm sorry, classmate Jifen. The house is too small and a bit cramped." "It's okay, Auntie." "Yo, Mom, I'm going to tutor Jifen in a bit. Staying at home is quite inconvenient. It will also affect your rest. Can we go out in a little while?" I don't know why. I always feel that the relationship between Wen Nguyen and his mother is strange. This is already his second time. Interfered with my conversation with Wang Yakin. Fortunately, this standoff didn't last too long. The silent Wang Yakin smiled again. "Of course. Thank you, Mom." The warm voice is a bit soft. It was clear that he felt a sense of relief. "Mom, we're leaving. Take a good rest at home." At this moment, I finally understood, even if I was a bit slow. Wen Nguyen's relationship with his mother is not that simple. In this case, the reason for the warmth in the past life was funding has also become more complicated. In the days that followed, Wen Nguyen and I reached an agreement about the tutoring. He helps me review my homework every day. I pay him 1,800 for tutoring each week. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, the monthly exam day has arrived. As a result, my score suddenly improved by over 200 points, reached 466 points. What does this concept mean? For me, who was still a school delinquent a month ago, this progress can no longer be simply measured by great actions. After school, I took a card out of my pocket and handed it to Wen Nguyen. The cost of the extra classes. Wen Nguyen looked at the card I handed over, eyes a bit lost. "Helping you with your studies is just a side thing. Actually, it didn't take too much of my effort." "That won't do. Even biological brothers need to settle accounts clearly. This is the fruit of your labor. Please be sure to accept it." I don't know why when I gave him the money, Wen Nguyen feels very uncomfortable inside. But he really needs the money. 11.5 rewards. In the end, he still accepted the card. "Thank you." Wen Nguyen stood blankly in front of the ATM machine holding a card, gazing at the string of numbers on the screen with a somewhat dazed expression. That number meant a lot to his family at that moment. Without a doubt, it's a huge sum of money. Until an impatient voice came from behind. "Hey, are you still going to get it? Hurry up and leave. I'm waiting for something." Apology. When Nguyen turned back to apologize to the person behind her, he first took 2,000. After the 11th, I withdrew another 1,000. Gently put the 3,000 yuan into the backpack. The girl who couldn't shake her worries. Just turn the backpack inside out and carry it. He doesn't have the kind of small backpack that other female classmates often use. So everywhere you go, you carry your own backpack. After taking the money, he quickly took out his phone. After a moment of hesitation, they sent me a text message. "Are you free tomorrow? I want to treat you to a meal." I was momentarily stunned when I saw the message right after taking a shower. I carefully confirmed the identity of the person who sent the message. If it were someone else, I would definitely refuse. But he is warm. When Nguyen actually took the initiative to invite me to dinner, "Okay, then I'll pick you up tomorrow." This answer made Wen Nguyen feel faintly happy inside. After returning home, he took out 1,000 yuan and gave it to his mother. "Oh, this money is for you." Seeing the money my daughter handed over, Wang Yakin clearly had a moment of amnesia. "Where did you get this money from?" "I charge for tutoring Jifeng. During this time of tutoring him, his grades have improved significantly. Today, Modi's exam results are out. He settled the tutoring fees for this period with me." Warmly answer truthfully. His answer made Wang Yakin slightly jealous. "So much is the tutoring fee for classmate Jifeng." "Yes, he has made a lot of progress this time. I will continue to tutor him. But Mom, don't worry. My own learning will not fall behind. This time I am first again." Wang Yakin saw the warm expression. My daughter rarely speaks, even when facing her mother. At most, they will just say a few more words, even to warm one's own feelings and thoughts. Most of the time, she wouldn't express it to her mother, until that night. My appearance looks a bit like that of a little thug. Things gradually began to change. He could sense that his daughter's mood seemed to have improved a bit. Sometimes I would say a bit more, especially when mentioning the name Monsoon. "So it's you, Monsoon. Then you should help him with his studies properly." After all, they paid for the extra lessons. "Mom, don't worry. I can do it. And I will definitely make a lot of money in the future. Your body will surely get better." Wang Yakin smiled, gently stroked the warm forehead. Warmth is slightly tangled. After a while, he suddenly whispered, "Tomorrow I will go to the city to tutor her. I should go to the library. Mom, take a good rest at home." "Okay, Mom knows." If I needed to make up classes on previous weekends, Warmth doesn't need to be mentioned actively. Every time, I just need to come to her house normally. "So is tomorrow's meeting a date?" Wan Yakin's smile grew more pronounced. A conversation between mother and daughter. Their originally tense relationship has eased a lot. That night, everyone had a nice dream. All yearned for a better future. The next day, I changed into casual clothes and knocked on the warm home's door. I have already changed my clothes at home. Wait for my warmth to open the door. When they saw me, her fair face suddenly flushed. Then I felt a bit at a loss. People rely on their clothing. She feels that I look exceptionally handsome today. Today I dressed up intentionally. It's mainly because I value this date with her enough. But now looking back, I seem to have made things worse instead. When Nguyen glanced at the school uniform she was wearing. "Thank you for treating me to a meal today." She even specially washed her uniform in advance. But now she suddenly feels that nothing has any meaning. The feeling of inferiority is almost spilling over. She closed her eyes. I want to close the door, but my moves are faster than hers. The iron door slammed down on my palm. When Nguyen was startled, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." I interrupted her directly with my mouth open. "Oh, you promised to take me out to eat." At this moment they are hesitating again. "I've paid you so much extra tutoring fee." I can't bear to treat you to a meal. I don't have it." Wen Nguyen lowered her head. My gaze lingered on my palm. "I don't want to go any more. I'll give you money. You go eat by yourself." "What? Give me money? Am I a person who lacks money? Is this something a normal brain would say?" I am a bit shocked. But I finally realized how strong is the warmth of inferiority. Inferiority and self-esteem are two things. Sometimes it's hard to say. Warmth comes from having a strong sense of self-esteem. That's why I feel inferior. I scratched my head. After a moment of contemplation, he asked, "Do you care a lot about appearances?" The warm sound of iron passing over the brow. She thinks I'm talking nonsense. Which little girl in this world truly don't care about appearances? Those who say they don't care about appearances are liars. If you care about these things, then you should definitely come with me. When Nguyen raised her head, the gaze was somewhat confused. "I can make you change. Become more confident. It sounds like you know what I'm thinking." She regretted saying that as soon as the words left her mouth. She felt that speaking like this was very rude. "In any case, I won't go with you." "With what are we doing here?" The warm shopping mall opened before me. The expression seemed somewhat resistant. "I just had breakfast. It's only a little past 9. So let's take a stroll and wait a bit. I got so hungry while shopping that I had a big meal at noon." My reason for this is somewhat different. She couldn't find any angle to refute it. "You will be going to university in the future. It's impossible to be closed off in high school for a lifetime. Let's go. For future college life. I find it hard to gradually lose sleep over you." College life. Warmth never thought that far. Her previous thoughts only stayed in high school. She wants to prove it to her mother. Prove one's abilities. Suddenly, I heard her and me talking about the future. Speaking of college life, suddenly it gave her a glimmer of hope. I brought this autistic girl to the women's clothing section. The various styles of clothing made the girl's eyes shine bright. It was only when she saw the price on the clothes that. Yet in my heart I felt like backing down. "Monsoon, are we going to buy clothes here?" Warmth in my heart feels a bit tangled. The price of the clothes here isn't so high that she can't accept it. Just to invite me to dinner. She brought 2,000 yuan with her today. She didn't know how much it would cost to treat someone to a meal. I had never treated anyone to a meal before. I was afraid it wouldn't be enough, so I brought the 2,000 I withdrew yesterday. But if you want to buy clothes here." When Nguyen lowered her head, I no longer dare to think further down. While she was plotting in her heart, I have already started picking out clothes for her. "Miss Sister, this matter. There is still this matter. Let her give it a try." Warm eyes wide open. "So many things. Do you really want me to try?" "Huh? Aren't you going to make me try?" "But don't be like that. Trying it out doesn't cost anything. Hurry up, hurry up. Let me take a look after it's been changed." I handed the waist-cinching yellow long dress I initially chose to Wenwen. He pushed her into the changing room with her conflicted gaze. Waiting for a woman to change clothes is an extremely long time, until she timidly walked out of the changing room. After the concealment of the school uniform was gone, warm, fair skin is completely exposed in my view. Her long hair fell over her shoulders. The lively big eyes were filled with immense shyness. The hands clearly didn't know where to go. She usually wore her school uniform. I really didn't notice her figure was this good. Even the well-informed nobleman, at this moment, he couldn't help but show an admiring gaze. "Handsome, your girlfriend is really beautiful." "No, I spoke at the same time as Wen Nguyen. Seeing Wen Nguyen turn away, I continued speaking. Sister, we are classmates, not a couple. Understood. Sister knows. Let's try the other two items. The noble revealed a smile. Go, warmth, try something else. Well, I've had my first attempt. The resistance in my heart has already diminished by more than half. She doesn't really understand aesthetics either, but she felt that the yellow long dress from earlier looked really beautiful, suddenly filled with anticipation for the upcoming outfits. In a short while, 3 sets were completed. A set of everyday vibrant long dress attire. A casual sports outfit emphasizes versatility. A set of aloof bathing solutions with a striking contrast. Until I handed her the 4th set of clothes. She quit. No matter how she looked at it, something felt off. They confirmed with me multiple times if this was overlooked. Is that so? Look at what you're saying. Isn't choosing clothes just that? How will you know if it's good if you don't try? Were the 3 outfits I picked before not nice? I spoke with righteous indignation, my expression also very serious. Let the warmth not reveal any flaws for the time being. Well, I'll give it a try then. Go ahead, go ahead. I waved my hand, closing my face in impatience. That was close. If I had waited 2 more seconds, my smile would have given me away. Wen Nguyen's speed of changing clothes this time was much slower than before. After a long time, she finally covered her chest, slowly walked out of the changing room. Jifined, I feel this outfit is too revealing, not really suitable for me. She lowered her head, feeling a bit resistant and shy. But I kept silent for a long time. She looked up in confusion, only to find me staring intently at her. And soon, it's nothing, nothing. If you don't like it, just take it off. As students, we really shouldn't dress so revealingly. Wen Nguyen felt a bit strange inside. Her expression and demeanor clearly showed she was very satisfied with this attitude. But why did she say that I shouldn't dress like this? This can only be worn by me. No one else can see it. Wen Nguyen clearly returned to the changing room, put on the previous yellow waist-fitting dress. While she was changing clothes, I had already asked the noble to settle the bill. By the time it warms up, I am already standing at the door with the bag. Mansoon, how much are these? It's just a little over 1,000. Wen Nguyen quietly reached into her pocket. The small hand in front has already been soaked with sweat. 3 outfits cost a total of 1,100 yuan, averaging over 300 for a set. This is the normal price at the mall. It's just that this price is a bit too much for her to bear. She lowered her head. I don't know how to express my emotions. I didn't give Wen Nguyen much time to think about the problem either, because I don't know how to change her mind either. Some things are useful when said once or twice. Saying too much loses its meaning. In my opinion, let her first see the changes in herself. Make her feel that all these changes are worth it. Come, stand up. I pulled warmth to the poetic mirror, pointing at the charming figure in the mirror. Do you think the person in the mirror looks good? The warmth feels somewhat uncertain. It should be okay. I have an exaggerated expression. Such a beautiful girl. You actually said she's just okay. Is there still justice? Is there still law? Wen Nguyen turned her head away. I know I'm praising her beauty, but she thinks my performance is too exaggerated. Keep your voice down. It's not as outrageous as you say. At this moment, the nobleman who placed the order also came over to praise. Sister, don't be so modest. If you don't consider this beautiful, then people like us with such plain looks must be feeling utterly ashamed, continuously praised by others. The warm mood has improved a bit. Being complimented on one's appearance is truly a delightful experience. Everyone is the same. Have you seen your own change? Warmly nodding. Then let's not dwell on the past. Today, listen to my arrangement. When Noon looked at me, my burning gaze made her hesitant to meet my eyes. After avoiding my gaze, she then nodded slightly. The warm feelings have relaxed a lot. I started laughing too. All right, now we have the clothes. Let's go find a few pairs of shoes that go well together. Should when Nguyen subconsciously shrank her feet. Her shoes are a pair of white sneakers. That's still her mother's shoes. Originally warm, but still a bit hesitant. He patted her shoulder. She was somewhat confused. What are you doing? Please sit down. When Nguyen obediently sat down. She always feels that my gaze seems a bit strange at this moment. I can't quite put my finger on what's strange. What should we do now? Warmth, do you know? Actually, many times boys don't need to see a girl's face. You don't need to hear the girl's voice either. It can still generate affection and admiration. Everyone has their own shining points. It is iconic, just like fireworks rising, heavy snow falls, embraced by a loved one, embraced by admirers. When we feel the moments of brilliance, it will remind me of that beauty. So, try to showcase your strengths as much as possible. Understood. When Nguyen looked at me with a face full of confusion. I don't understand. Can you speak human language? Good. Take off your shoes. Look, there's only. The girl's face instantly turned red to her ears, although there was early preparation. But she still thought my reasoning was too abstract. Next, under my constant gaze, when Nguyen shyly took off her shoes. Then 600 words were deleted here. It is a stunning work of art, pairing with the new clothes and shoes. The warmth at this moment is like the heroine under a time filter, the true white moonlight. Next, I brought warmth to a barber shop again. I found the best teacher, Tony. Girls take much longer to get ready than boys. Even a casual process takes more than 2 hours. Staring at the warm silhouette made me feel a bit dazed. My feelings are very complicated right now. It's like I've discovered a gem. Gradually became a gem through careful crafting. This is the feeling that warmth gives me. It was originally a very good thing. The problem is I suddenly found this gem to be too dazzling. So dazzling that even I see two people. But I couldn't suppress the subtle flutter in my heart. I got up and walked to the barber shop door. I really need to calm down right now. Perhaps much later. I find that the voices in my head are always lingering. The heart feels somewhat unsettled. I originally thought I would remain calm no matter what happened. The relationship between warmth and me is also a compensation for past mistakes and guilt. Cannot do. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Don't be so hopeless. At that moment, a voice came from behind me. Minsoon, why are you here all alone? Turn to face the newcomer. I have always found the owner of that voice repulsive, both in this life and the last. Guzu Ting's official boyfriend announcement, Yan Honghao. He has always been the one that Wen Nguyen liked in her past life. I can ignore Guzu Ting, but now I can't help but care about warmth. I don't know if it's because of the warmth. In short, I get annoyed whenever I see the Yan Hong number. Her tone of voice was somewhat exaggerated, deliberately emphasizing that I am a person. She just wanted to show off that she was out shopping with Gu Zuting. She naturally understands that I, Gu Zuting, was once a sycophant, licked for years, and gained nothing. Unfortunately, she heard that I have recently given up. She wished I was still licking Gu Zuting. That would greatly satisfy her vanity. The goddess I once longed for is now her girlfriend. It's even possible that she will take me back tonight. How painful it must be to have each of these things prick at my heart.